Alright guys, we're here at my favorite pond. Probably do a different intro later, but out here early in the morning, try and see if we can't get hooked up on some mondos this morning. And since we're here so early, I'm going to start with the frog and try to get on them on top. Alright, got a fish. Alright. I didn't even hear him really surf it. Barely took it. Alright, there's definitely still fish in here. Oh. The reason I say that is because I heard they had a fish kill earlier this year. Not a bad little fish to start it out. On the top water. Alright. Let's get him back. Good sign. Make sure I'm not standing in some fire ant pile. Whew, this guy's another good little chunky one. Barely hooked. Barely hooked. Good little fish though. Yeah, I'd say he's thick, so that's what makes me think 2, but I'd say a strong 1.5, maybe 2. That's how you want him to eat it right there. Good little one again, 1 pounder. There we go, got you out of there, son of a gun. Good little one. Out of the slop. I'm gonna toss him outside the slop so I don't get stuck in. Get his whole mouth clogged with all that crap. Good little one though. Healthy, healthy, healthy. Oh, there we go. On the ground. Good, like 2 pounder right there, probably. Swim bait. Good. Barely hooked. Good fish right there. Bit skinny, but well, small but chunky, dude. Like, look at the back on him. What am I doing? Barely hooked. Good, healthy little chunkers. And go back. That's a chunky little bud. Good fish right there. That guy hit hard too. He ran with it. Good feisty one right there. Little one on the big worm. That's funny. Get him back. There we go. It's a good little fish right there. A little chunky buddy. Get over here. Okay. Get a little bass again.
Hey y'all, and welcome to the gear review for this video today. I'm going to be going over what gear I used to catch my fish in this video and how I actually fished it. And so first, before I get into that, the brands and everything of the gear that I'm going to be using is going to be in the description, so since I can't remember that all right now. But that'll be down there in the case anyone's looking for that information. But I'm going to be going over the 4 general methods I caught my fish and just describe certain things about such methods. So 4 main methods is that of Froggen Setup, Swimbait Setup, Rig Setup, as well as a Wacky-Rig Setup. So starting off with the Froggen Setup, I was using my 7-foot heavy rod with I think an 8-speed reel on it with 65-pound main braid, and I think using a SPRO Bronzeye popping frog, and really working that in 2 areas: on the edges of vegetation / sloppy areas, or right in the middle of it. Reason I'm throwing stuff right through the middle of the vegetation is sometimes that fish like sitting under that kind of stuff and in that kind of stuff just to try to cool down a little bit, since we are in the middle of the summer at this point of this video, and they're liking to cool down, keep out of the sun, and stay in protected areas so that they can spot bait and potentially not be seen by the bait before they see them. So like throwing it straight to that stuff, and also as well as going through little holes in the vegetation, because fish are usually like sitting right above that, or right under those things, just waiting to trap bait. Or on the edges, in the case that fish are sitting on the edge of the vegetation looking for something to come in front of them that way. Or if there's just fish roaming, just going around, not really locked to a certain position, and in the case that they're close to it, they will be able to sense it better than it will be if the fish is just roaming around and I'm trying to throw it right through vegetation. So those are the 2 main areas, and just working like a regular popping frog. And so the Swimbait setup is using my 7-foot medium heavy with I think a 6-speed reel 30-pound braid, no leader, just because I don't like that stretch when I'm fishing around vegetation, with swim baits at least, in a single hook. So the bait-wise was a Gambler Easy Swimmer, I think in the 5.0 color, and then I was using a VMC belly-weighted Screwlock hook, and working that in, similar areas of the frog, really. I don't really like throwing it too much through all the slop, just since sometimes it didn't really get the action, but sometimes it can, act kind of like a little ribbit frog, so there's that area, there's that way of fishing it, kind of. And then, like I said, throwing on the edges of vegetation, or even in deeper water, to bring it closer to the shallower vegetation, just because some fish might be sitting a little bit deeper in the cooler water, and maybe see that bait and then, fall a little bit, then get it. Or I could just bring it right across fish sitting in the mediary area between the deeper and the shallower water, and intercept them there. And not really doing any extravagant, rod movements, just slowly reeling that bait to get the wobble of the tail of the swim bait. Then I got the Texas Rig rigs. So for the big worm I was throwing the same medium heavy like I just described, but then this time with 20-pound fluoro leader, and throwing like a giant extra wide gap hook or whatever. And then I think a 12-inch worm, 12-inch zoom worm or something like that. And then the smaller setup with the little craw was on a 7-foot medium with a, I think, 5 or 6 speed reel and 12-pound mono. And working these in similar ways, but in different areas, right? So, the big worm, I'm not really going to be throwing that around in like a foot of water, right? I'm going to be throwing that a little bit deeper, trying to get those deeper fish, as well as then working it towards myself to try to intercept those fish in the mini area-ish zone, between the deeper and the shallower water. And just doing regular movements like, raising the rod, laying it down, reeling up the slack, or raising the rod, maybe doing a few pops to get the tail of that worm going. Just depends. And also to make it differentiated enough so that I'm not just doing the same thing the whole time, and creating a non-realistic bait. So then the craw, though, was a little bit different. I wouldn't throw it too deep in too deep of water, just because I don't want to be waiting for extravagant amount of time just to let the bait hit the bottom. I'm gonna be casting in that mediary zone, letting it sink to the bottom, and then just working it to me slowly, just to try to create a realistic-ish crawfish representation. And that was also on an extra wide gap hook, and I think it was a Strike King Rage Craw or something like that. But that's essentially how I fished those two Texas rigs, which resulted in sufficient. It's kind of funny with the big ribbon tail that I was using, the big 12-inch worm. I think the fish I got was as big as a worm. So if that didn't tell you that, despite the size of the fish, they'll eat a big bait, I'm not sure what will. And so the last rig that I used, honestly one of my most comfort rigs, or more comfortable rigs, is a little Wacky-Rig on my little 6.6 medium spinning rod with, I think, 15-pound braid, 10-pound fluoro leader, and on a little like owner wacky hook or something, like weedless wacky hook, I don't know. Throwing little Senkos, it didn't matter, honestly. I was throwing Gary Yamamoto Senkos, some other brand of Senkos, and whatever I really had that was in green pumpkin or watermelon red flake. Just slinging those around, and really anywhere. I'm not fishing this in super deep water either. It's kind of throwing it in the same areas of that smaller Texas rig, that mediary zone, and just working it to me. And not really working it like a regular Texas rig. I'm doing little pops, letting the worm dangle and float down to the bottom, doing little pops, and continuing that little pattern. And ended up hooking a lot of fish on that rig. I don't know why. That Wacky-Rig is so weird. I don't know why fish like it, but they do. I always seem to catch fish out there on it. So there's that. And not the biggest size of fish. Again, in this whole video, like I said in the video early on, is that this pond actually went through a fish kill not too long ago, and I think killed a lot of the bigger fish, which is unfortunate, but it's a natural thing that can happen. And although with that, the fish that I did catch in this video, those small, were healthy. I think the biggest being 2 pounds, but almost all the fish I got were good, thick-backed, and were looking good for their size. So not too bad a fish for the conditions that place has been going through. And so that's all the 4 rigs I really used. If, like I said, anything that I may have missed in this, I'll put in the description. But that's about it for all the gear that I use and how I fish my gear. And you know, I know I've filmed a lot of videos at this pond, I know, but it's just one of my favorite places to fish, and you know, can throw you some, you know, curveballs sometimes, so you have to adapt, and you know, use different rigs and stuff to get the fish. But I believe that's about it for this gear review. I hope to go out to this pond again eventually, but I'm gonna wait some time for now to see if it recoups. But like I said, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you next time. So thank you very much for the view. I'll catch you later.